right, we're joined by two very special guests here, two of our community coaches, and we'll get into what that means in a little bit. But Yawara MacNeill and Bianca Lopez, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for having us. I'm super
Excited to have y'all here. First of all, I just want to get to know each of you a little bit and have our audience get to know who you are, where you come from, what your background is. But let's start with you, Yawara. Tell us your soccer journey. How did you get to where you are now?
Yeah, I actually started playing in elementary in first grade. I remember I loved to race the track at recess, and so I thought, like, I could do something with this, you know? So I decided to join a sport. My friends were joining soccer, and, you know, at that age, you do whatever your friends do, so I hopped right in, started playing with AYSO, and then really started to fall in love with playing just at recess. Mete gol all the time, played at recess, picked it right back up at lunch, so that's where I started to form that relationship with it. I got invited to go play at the club level from one of my coaches at the school. Started playing with Coronado FC and then eventually at Rebels. And then from there, I got recruited to go play in New York. Started playing for St. Francis Brooklyn for their inaugural women's program and got to play on Pier 5 as one of our home fields. So that was incredible. Came home after 2 years and got to base myself back in San Diego, start playing for the community here, put a little bit more San Diego flavor into my style of play. I started coaching at my alma mater at Olympian High School. Got really jealous of my girls who got to play on the field. So I was like, okay, I want to start playing again. So I went to Irvine, played a little bit over there, came back into the community, and now just recently started to play for the women's inaugural program at Sockers.
That's a lot. That's a long
lot. We
journey.
bounced around quite a bit, but we're back home.
That's amazing. I'll love to dive more into that a little bit too. But Bianca, I want to hear from you. How did it all begin for you?
Yeah, so I have 3 older brothers, so similar like with friends or stuff, you know, you want to do what they're doing. And so at the time, my parents, where we lived, there's like a lot of gang violence and just different like outside things. So they're like, okay, let's put the kid in sports. Let's keep them busy in that way. So at 4, I started playing like organized soccer. It was just rec soccer at the time. It was held at like a middle school and I think elementary school. And I think around when I was 10, I ended up being part of like an all-star team. So they took like 2 players from each team and created an all-star team and went. And it was like more of a competitive style tournament. From that, I was asked to come and play club soccer. I ended up playing majority of my time at Breakers. And then I want to say like right before my senior year, I decided to shift and make that move to surf. Played there, played at El Camino High School. And then actually like I was doing really well at surf and I was about to sign with a school. You know, you have to do the national letter of intent, and the school just kind of like left me on red. So that didn't ever end up happening, which is totally fine. I pivoted. I was still like very young. I was 17 when I graduated high school. So I decided to play another year of club, basically gray shirted, took under a certain amount of units at Maricosta. And then I had just ended up coming back from an injury, and I ended up at a tournament in Pleasanton in Northern California. And I wasn't even recruited by the coaches from the school I ended up going to. There was a ex-alumni player who happened to be there coaching some other team, and she went up to them and was like, hey, like, I see myself in this girl, like, you guys need to check her out. And because I had just come back from the injury, like, I didn't think anything was going to come from that. I was wearing an eye patch out there. Like, I ended up having, like, very bad trauma to my eye, and so they hit me up, and they're like, yeah, we really like your style. So I ended up starting at University of the Pacific in the spring of 2015, playing out there for 4 years. And then I was about to actually go play and go to school in Rome, and then COVID hit. And so that really did like change and shifted. I know everybody's like trajectory of their life. So I was like, okay, I have all these skill sets. I had coached before. I'm back at home. What can I do for my community? And so that's when I ended up coaching at El Camino High School for the novice team, and then also playing pickup. And then now more recently, I moved from Oceanside down here to San Diego, and I was coaching a summer camp at Chicano Federation. And that's how I've become now here in San Diego. Yeah.
Wow. Both of you, that's such an impressive soccer journey. And then also to make your way into still where you're continuing that in what you're doing day to day and coaching the next generation, I think is really cool. What position did y'all play?
Left winger.
I played everything. When I was younger, I was like, okay, you're going to play forward. The moment you score, we're going to put you in goalie. And nobody else wanted to do it. And I just, because I have my 3 older brothers, like, I was just very, like, ferocious. Nothing scared me. Mind you, my brothers are, like, 6 foot, 250 pounds, like, these big dudes.
Right.
So I did that. Pretty much as I got older, it was mainly, like, striker, winger positions. And then once I got to college, everything completely, like, was ripped out from the under the rug for me. And I ended up as left back. And I absolutely, like, fell in love with that position, mainly because you could do both, right? You can go and, like, be very creative, throw some funk on somebody, and then you can also make someone look silly and, like, take the ball away from them. So, yeah, it was really cool to see, like, I have, now that I'm a coach, like, I've had so much experience in all these different positions, and I'm like, if I can do it, you can do it. And, like, also, it's nice telling, like, the younger generations, like, learn all the positions.
Yeah.
Like, it's really good to be versatile in that way. Like, coaches really they'll bring you on your roster if you know how to play multiple positions.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny, I actually became a left winger because when I went to go play club, our coach was really in love with the idea of the center mid. So it was just a bunch of 10s coming into this program and getting put on different parts of the field because they love that your head's always on a swivel. You're already making decisions like 7 steps ahead. And so I got thrown out to the side, and I think I carried more of a central midfielder perspective to the game through that.
What do you just both kind of touched on it a little bit, but what do you do now in your day-to-day that still ties back to soccer?
Whether it's watching soccer, coaching soccer, playing, like, she does have that ability to play more of the competitive style. I've recently, like, since coming from Oceanside, I'm starting to find the pockets of soccer where I can still play at. And as well, just, like, back in my community, there was recently a futsal court put in. So just playing pickup there, organizing, like, little sessions there. Coming up soon this summer, like, I hope to host a couple more tournaments in that space. So, yeah, just you wake up and it's like eat, sleep, and breathe it. And
Really?
it's just part of you. And it's always been a driving force in waking up in the first place.
Yeah, soccer is central to my life. And if you saw my tan right now, you would definitely, that's great evidence to that. But right now I'm in a position where I'm still active player. So I'm really excited to start stepping into that and being back in my cleats in that way. But I also coach in many different areas. So I'm coaching for the women's program at Southwestern College. I am coaching for the community program at SDFC. I coach one-on-one personal training with ankle breakers, and then I also coach for Rebels as an assistant coach. So it's cool because I get to tie in with different communities, different age groups, different levels of play. And outside of that, I'm also on the field playing pickup or indoor or, at the canchita or wherever there's a ball.
You both sound like you're very busy.
Oh, yeah.
A little bit.
How do you manage all of it and, kind of staying on track with that all?
Yeah, it was like a big weakness I had growing up, time management in general. Like, it wasn't something that was, like, ever really spoken in my household or, like, talked about or taught even. And so knowing that is a weakness, I just started to develop more skill sets and, like, seek out, like, having more tools that will help me with that time management. And so now it's almost to the fault. Like, people kind of are like, okay, that's too much, because I'm like, my whole calendar is filled out. Like, I tell my family members whenever they need to book something, like, I need to know at least, like, a month in advance, because I already have the months, like, booked out. And if I can't make it, that's literally because I'm just so on top of it now. And it feels good. And it's definitely something that when I do coach, I really try and tell people, because at the end of the day, like, you can prioritize everything you want to. You just have to, like, schedule it, make the time, and be proactive about it.
That's really good advice.
Yeah, I'm definitely time blind. It's something that I'm working on. I'll look at my calendar and I'm like, oh, pretty colors. Like, so much going on. But I think when you love the game and you surround yourself with people that also love the game and care to develop you, not just as a person or not just as a player or a coach, but a person as a whole, it's so easy to make the energy and the time for it.
That part that you just said too is huge. And I want to talk to you both because I know you all through our community coaches program. And that's what I want to hear a little bit more about from each of you on kind of what that program is and what your experience is throughout, seeing San Diego through this way.
Yeah, it's funny. So my family's half Japanese, half American, and everyone always asks like, "Oh, like were you born in Japan?" And I'm not that cool. Like, and my brother and my mom both were, and my dad grew up in the U.S., but I grew up in San Diego, and I think now having spent so much time in it, like that is something I'm really proud of and something I get to claim only in my family. SDFC does such a great job in showing how much we're proud of our city, of our community. It's funny, when we just started to work for SDFC as community coaches, I had previously had a tie with SDFC playing in the Chrome Ball tournaments and getting to see each of the municipals. And when I introduced myself to Mario, I asked him, I was like, those guys with the drums and the flags, like, you guys hire them? And he's like, no. Wow, like we are so proud as, you know, San Diego to show up in these spaces, and we have so much energy and passion for the game. So being able to, again, see each of the flavors of San Diego and dip into these communities and not only compete in them, but also see what's happening at the grassroots level, that same passion of the drums and the flags kind of exists in every part of this work.
Yeah, and going off that, like, right, it's the 18 cities that, like, make up who San Diego is, and SDFC did such an amazing job of showing up and paying homage to each one. And I think just the way, like, from the get-go, how they started, that, like, foundational structure just keeps continuing to flow. And whether that's us as community coaches or just fans watching it, it transcends all the way up to the professional level, right? So even though we're doing this very, like, boots on the ground work, all the layers are continuing to impact the overall success of the whole club, and everyone wants to be a part of that. So it's very, like, welcoming and comforting. And then as we show up as, like, community coaches, like, the kids are so, like, just welcome us with open arms, and they want to be a part of it, and they want to do, like, anything that we say. We could tell them the most bizarre thing, and, like, they would do it, and they just want to be a part of it.
And I think that transcends soccer as well. And you could speak to the art community side of this, but I think SDFC does a really good job of seeing who you are as an individual, the qualities that you can contribute to this game, because there's so many different ways to be involved. This podcast is definitely one of them. Media is one of them. Art's one of them. Like food, they find every way to bring the community together, regardless of how related that might feel to the sport itself.
Yeah, it's like what Mario always tells us, and, like, some of the stuff we learn, it's like always meeting the people where they're at.
Yeah.
And yeah, exactly. They do that, and
doing justice to the authenticity of each of the individuals that are part of this larger program.
This match preview is presented by Alaska Airlines. Our friends at Alaska Airlines are rewarding fans all season long by giving you 100 Atmos Rewards points for every SDFC home goal. Registration resets for 2026, so be sure to sign up again at atmosrewards.com/SDFC.
We'll be flying to Hawaii in no time with the amount of goals that SDFC scores at home. I'll tell you that much.
Ain't that the truth? This year we're on fire, so let's do this.
As the official specialty insurance partner of San Diego FC, Palomar offers standalone earthquake insurance that protects property and peace of mind. It's crucial to be prepared. Visit plmr.com or contact your insurance agent for a quote. Palomar, reimagining specialty insurance with innovative, creative solutions.
This week on Celeb News, Hollywood's newest posse. It's DirecTV's Genre Packs. Curated collections of your favorite channels and streaming apps together. Check out The Bad Boy, My Sports, The Heartthrob, Mi Español, and The Hot One, My Entertainment, with Disney Plus, Hulu, and HBO Max included. Starting at just $34.99 a month. It's DirecTV like you've never seen it. New residential customers. Auto-renews monthly. Cancel anytime. Apps vary by pack. Prices may vary through third parties. Credit card and restrictions apply. 18 plus. See details at directv.com/genrepacks.
You both touched on it a little bit, but I'd love to hear a little bit more on the day-to-day of what it looks like to be a community coach. Like what you're going into in the space. If you pay attention to our socials, you've probably seen your faces or heard from you and your experiences too. But just what does that look like when you're going into these places and these events with, the kids, and what kind of work you're doing with them?
Yeah. It's really exciting, but also, like, challenging at the same time, because we don't know a lot of these kids. Culturally, we don't know always where they're coming from, what they've endured, where they're going home to afterwards. So it's really important that we, like, Mario and as our group, like our team, we prepare so well that no matter what kind of like challenge arises throughout the day, like we can still meet it head on. And maybe it's not seen or observed by anyone around us. And, you know, we go away, we debrief on our own, we talk about it, but we're showing face in the way that, you know, we're still very like positive and wanting to be there. And then like working with all the schools, like, well, it's so challenging because they have a lot of like jurisdictions that we have to abide by and like codes. And so just making sure like we're being respectful and we're honoring ourselves as coaches, but also the club and then overall like the schools that we're working with.
Right, and this being still a pretty fresh program, I think the beginning of it was really trying to figure out what format works for the kids in terms of drills and transitions and tailoring to a younger mind. But I think Bianca touched on it a little bit. Our next project is trying to understand more of the context of each of these schools and the challenges they might face as a community and how we can meet them there and use soccer as a way to navigate those things.
For both of you growing up and finding love for this sport, you know, in this community, and then being able to contribute so much to being able to bring that to the youth here, what does that mean to each of you to be able to continue that and growing the game here in San Diego?
Yeah, soccer's done so much for me. And something I tell my kids, because we get so passionate and emotional about it, is at the end of the day, it's like, it's a silly little game with a silly little ball and your silly little friends. But it also, in the way that it's so simple, it's very complex. I know soccer's done so much for me on a personal development point of view. It's paid for my education. It's taken me so many different places. It's connected me to the people around me. So it has so much to offer. And if I can be, you know, that first face, that first invitation for someone to be a part of it, there really is no prerequisite to being a soccer player other than loving the game. So the fact that we as SDFC get to be, you know, that introduction is such an honor. And who knows what happens from there, you know, like we're just that first handshake and perhaps life takes off for them in that way. And soccer serves for them as that vehicle.
Yeah, recently we worked at the Armed Services YMCA, and there's this little girl, and I just like saw so much of myself in her, and like she was falling down, she was getting back up, and she ended up actually making it up on the socials, and she like has her fist up here, and like she just like every experience, like other people could have like fallen down and then just like dipped, you know, and she just every moment she was just there, present, just taking it all in, and like for me that's really what it's been, this sport. There hasn't been like a concrete pathway, and I don't think for anybody there is, but the life lessons are there. Yawara stated that, like the personal lessons are there, and then for some people, you know, like depending on where your environment is, where you grow up, it can completely take you out of like negative environments and really help you like stay on track and just meet so many people and create so many opportunities that you just never would have thought would have happened.
I love that example that you just brought there, because I was just going to ask both of y'all if you had a moment that kind of sticks out in your brain or grounds you into remembering, you're like, this is why I do what I do, because you see just what the tiniest bit of your effort can do for someone's life when they're, you know, trying to gain their confidence in the sport or whatever it may be and whatever significance it holds. But I love that moment. What about you? What do you have?
My mind goes straight to Faye Elementary. I don't know if you got to do any of the sessions there, but I don't know where I'll be in my life when I decide to have kids, but I'm coming right back and I'm enrolling my kids to Faye Elementary because those kids are just exemplary. And there's one moment that shines for me as well. There is this kid, this Vietnamese kid who was in our group, and I had never, yes, I know, I knew you.
I love that you both know.
Oh my God. And so it was just such a special moment to me because I was putting together our little drill and I hadn't thought too much about it. I'd given them the instruction, you know, got to know their names, did the little high fives, and the kids are making their way through their lines, doing the drill. Mine happened to be a little obstacle course to goal. And this kid steps up and he's a little bit confused. So I'm trying to guide him through it. And I hadn't realized there was a language barrier. So the kids communicated to me, oh, he only knows Vietnamese. I'm like, oh, okay, like no worries. And they grabbed him like hand in hand and walked him through the obstacle course. No frustration, no like, I'm supposed to be next, none of that. They genuinely wanted him to have the experience, to be involved, to feel included. And that to me, I was chills. I was like, wow, these kids really care to, again, include. And I think that's what SDFC stands for. So to know that soccer transcends language amongst other barriers that exist between us was, my moment. But I love that you know who I'm talking about. Yeah.
And that's so cool too, because like that's something that, transcends into later into life too. We look at the team that we have, there's language barriers between, players and that across all different leagues. And so just being able to see what the sport is able to do across all different levels is something that I always find to be really cool about this sport.
Yeah, you could tell there's a depth to the relationship regardless of how they're able to communicate. And soccer being like, again, another common point for you to meet with another stranger, I think is amazing.
You kind of touched a little bit on your experience of, what you've gotten to experience through SDFC. You touched on something that I thought was interesting is coaching and getting, continued education. That's something that's huge for our community program is continued education in the coaching space. Can you tell us a little bit about that? I think both of you are involved in that program, what that is for you.
Absolutely. So Bianca and I just completed our 11v11 course, and we are going into our D license, which is really exciting. There are a lot of disparities in terms of female coaches that are in the game. And so it's very evident a lot of the times to look around the field and be like, oh, I'm the only one, that represents my gender in this space. So it's really lovely to see not just, again, myself stepping into this role, but a lot of the girls that are within our class are people I've grown up with, people that coach me, people who I coach, and to see and know each of them on an individual level and what they have to offer, and having that little pass into that career has been inspiring to me.
Yeah, I think as well, growing up, I feel like maybe I saw maybe one Latina coach actually in like a small proximity to me. And it wasn't even until maybe like college spaces where you start to see that diversity. And most of my teammates, we were all Latinas. So when you don't have like that representation, it felt very hard to dream beyond that, whether it was, playing in college and stuff like that, because it wasn't until my junior year of high school when I was like, okay, maybe I can do this in college. And so us taking this course, me meeting all these amazing women that are down here in San Diego and all the impact that they've already created, but this D course just creating more knowledge in our toolkit to now go back in and see players, meet them even more where they're at. But now it's like, okay, I have this education. Now I can maybe line you up with a better understanding and break it down in words. Like language is so huge. So breaking it down in words that they can really understand instead of like the stuff that we already know because we've like gone to the level that we've been at.
Yeah. And you can continue that too. Like that I think you just touched on it is so important when you're, working with the youth in the next generation to be able to be that representation, but also to bring what you are learning into their space as well is so important because then they also see like that representation in, what their future could be as well. Yeah. Yeah.
And a huge thing for us too, at least within Let's Go South Bay and Southwestern College is leaving the sport better than you found it. And I think a huge part of that is us picking it up as women and then again, leaving it as women as well. We're only provided so much information about our bodies and our needs and being able to take what we've already known about soccer and recognizing kind of the gaps between the sport now and what the sport looks like for women. It's cool to see how like the D license is being directly implemented into our programs because again, every one of those coaches I know on a personal level and I know how they interact with their community and seeing those things come to play in real life is an exciting thing to see.
And for each of you, what are kind of your goals for the future? How do you want to continue to develop both within this sport and just, in life in general?
Yeah, I'm always like that type of person, like low key, I'm trying to peak at 60, and so when I say that is like, I never want to be someone who gets like so comfortable with where I'm at. Yeah. There's always so much more knowledge to absorb and to grow and learn. And with the D license, it's just like, and us having the grassroots, like it's that starting foundation, but I want to get the most education that I can in the soccer like world, whether that's through these licenses or through other programs around me. And eventually, like a really big goal of mine has always just to create my own type of curriculum. I'm really big on like the whole sports psychology. And so I really like to understand the human, not always just the athlete. And so with the course, it's like bringing that aspect and then bringing my psychology degree and creating something that also from like my community where they've been. And it's just like a very well-rounded understanding of not just in the sport of soccer, but like how can we make you better humans? What skill sets are going to just set you up for life in general? And yeah, whether that's bringing it back straight to the community in Oceanside, especially in my Libby Lake community, or just here right now in the closer community to SDFC, whether it's City Heights, Barrio Logan, and all the other communities we've worked in.
That's huge. The sports psychology side is something that I know our academy is, working within that and starting at that youth 11-year-old level and being able to implement that into their game, I think is so important. And I know that's something we talk to our players all the time about. It's the visualization and working with and through sports psychology to prepare for the game and working the mental side of the game is something that I think it's only going to continue to grow and become really important in this league.
Yeah, I just hopped out of my 20s. Like I'm still in my 20s, but that phase of exploration and being so lost because, it's so original in your 20s. So I'm starting to see a little bit more clarity about what I want to do moving forward. I knew it's always soccer involved or it was always like soccer related, but I just didn't figure out what my fit was for that. So again, just realized that I still have a lot of time in terms of playing on the field. And so I'm still cultivating myself as a player and trying to sharpen my craft in that way. And I think that brings an interesting and unique perspective to coaching as well. Because as I'm learning and figuring things out, I'm going to trainings with my kids and be like, look what I just figured out. Or I'm like, you got to get this like move down. I swear, like I just used it on the field. So still actively playing. I definitely want to start podcasting. So thank you, because this is my first step in that direction. Thank you, Kayla. This is going to be an exciting step in that journey. I would love to make soccer more accessible in that regard and be able to put videos together so that kids can find ways to explore the game by themselves with the ball at the park. They don't need to pay for any programs necessarily, and just explore other parts of San Diego beyond that as well.
That's awesome. I'm excited to see it all roll out and see where your podcasting takes you. I can't wait to, look down in the future and just see all the impact that you two both have in this community. And also, the whole coaches community, community coaches group that you guys have. How many total are you right now? And where do you think that program is going to grow?
Ronnie, Nico, Marlene, Ashley, Yawara, and myself. So I think it's a solid 6. And then the amazing Mario, leading us all. There's been some talk of it expanding. Obviously, the club's really new, so we're really new. But we have a solid team right now, and we all bring such different things. And no, sorry, we have 2 more. We have 8 total. Dan and Fernando. My bad, y'all. Yeah, and everyone has such unique lives, and so it's been really cool to hear everybody. And me and Yawara, I leaving Oceanside, coming down here, I hadn't really branched out into having too many friends yet, so I've been able to find friendship even within these community coaches. And so I think it's just going to continue as we talk to more people and more people understand what we're doing, then we'll have more opportunities to grow.
Yeah, they did a good job hiring.
Yeah. Shout out to Mario.
Yeah, shout out to the whole group.
Mario, who is our head of football growth, and hopefully we'll get you an opportunity to be able to introduce you to him, as well as everyone who works within our community group, is who we've been mentioning here too. And he told me that you all have a group chat that's very active, and I loved seeing that and just seeing how the conversation is continuing to be able to just continue to grow the sport and education around it. Yeah, I think is cool.
Yeah, it's been cool to see everyone's wins throughout it too, because people having kids and expanding their families, other players, again, me just barely joining that new team and getting myself back into the sport. Everyone champions each other and celebrates each other and makes sure to check in on what's going on beyond just what's within the clock.
How can we continue to support you all in your journey? What can people tune in? Maybe come, watch you play some games or support your work in the community. What can we do to support and uplift you all?
Yeah, so I have a mutual aid organization called Ratas Rags. We're just on Instagram, but you're more than welcome to follow and support and see that journey. We've dipped our toes in a lot of different areas of need in our community, the most one being providing free soccer, whether that's clinics or tournaments. So we're going to be slowly building a volunteer team to hopefully carry out 2 tournaments this summer, one for ending the school year and then one for back to school. That's a really big way you can help me and my community. And then, just, if you see me, like say hi, come up, say what's up, like say you saw me. I love talking. I love eating food. You want to get a bite to eat or get some coffee? Let's do it. Don't just hide. Say what's up.
I was going to say mine falls on that second part you're saying is just say hello, whether that's me or someone wearing an SDFC jersey, someone with a ball. I think, again, if we can connect through that, we were just talking about how San Diego feels so small sometimes, but it feels so big. Like if you don't know someone, you know someone that knows them. And I think just being able to connect and using soccer as a commonality, but then realizing your differences as well and be like, oh, you're interested in that? I don't have the resource for that, but I know someone that does. Just the connection part of it for me. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, y'all heard them. Make sure you're supporting and staying in touch with everything that the community does. We have our own community Instagram channel, SDFC in the community. Stay up to date. Follow that channel as well, because all of the lovely work that this team, as well as a team much bigger than the voices and faces that you see right here, are working really hard to make all of that happen. And we're going to celebrate that on our community night versus Minnesota on April 11th back at Snapdragon Stadium. So really excited to see all of the work that our community's been doing, these 18 days of community and really great activations of getting players and representation from this club out in the community in these spaces and activating on these different programs. So just a great night to be able to celebrate everything that this club is doing in this space. So really excited for it. Thank you guys.
Thank you so much for having us. This is awesome.